Alright, I guess we're just not doing YouTube. It's not coming up, so I don't have time to fuck with it. Alright, we're going live in about 2 seconds.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that one to the side.
Welcome to round number 3 of the Wind Tunnel Racing Series here live at Talladega Super Speedway. I'm joined in the booth tonight by Chris Spear. Chris, this is a big race, big drivers, and the biggest track on the schedule.
Certainly the biggest track and also the most entertaining, kind of the wild card in this race, or at least in this series for these drivers. These cars, Jared, they're some of the most fun cars to drive in the iRacing service. They're also some of the most aggressive cars here at the super speedways. Tonight, it's going to be interesting.
Sure is, and we can't wait to see how this race is going to turn out here tonight. Coming in, we have a 3-way tie for the championship lead, Chris.
That we do. We've had an exciting 3 weeks of racing. I believe it is, Jared, 3 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. With our Bernard Persson, Chuck Sweeney, and Dean Doucette all tied for that top position. That's how close these drivers are. Just makes it that much more interesting tonight.
Yeah, exactly right. Chuck Sweeting, Bernard Persson, and Dean Doucette all tied. The drivers are getting lined up here tonight, already qualifying in the books. So let's take a look at tonight's starting grid as these guys get lined up. Rachel Hunt takes the pole position with a time of 53.440. And up next to her is Brad Patterson, just 700ths behind. Russell Chernisky and Brian Bliss in row 2. Bernard Persson and Ronnie Royal in row 3. Row 4 is TJ Bartel and Dean Doucette. And rounding out your top 10, Chris, is Jason Maines and Casey McMullen.
Behind them, Darren Bruce and Dale Nearad in 12th, 13th Tim Bills, and 14th Lane Allen. And behind them in row number 8 is going to be Jason Spear and Andrew Poliski. Behind them in row 9, Chuck Sweeney and Stephen Vrooman. And rounding out your top 20, Gil Gok and Paul Schulten. I'm going to butcher that. I'm sorry, Paul Schalmenberg.
Paul Schalmenberg, I believe. So yeah, you're right there, Chris. And then we look at the rest of the grid here. David Phillips, the second. Joe Flanagan, Steve Loomis, Glenn Jamieson, Burt Wilson, Baron Labasco, James Torrey, Michael Carpenter, and Dave King all round out your 30 cards, Phil, tonight, along with, we have Gil Gok in here twice. So I don't know if he had a different account in here earlier, but we are going to get this thing set up. Let's take a look at the race info for tonight's race. 78 degrees, 92 track temp, partly cloudy. Pretty good racing conditions here, Chris.
That it is. Looking at the field throughout here, one thing interesting to note, there's a couple of drivers out here that kind of got some pseudo teammates that'll be using that advantage here, hopefully, to drafting around. We've got the Elliott Sadler Esports team of Rachel Hunt and Maines. And then we have, I believe that's Warrior Motorsports. They have 3 drivers with similar schemes here tonight. Those drivers, they're going to be looking for those teammates early on and kind of figure out whether or not they want to get to the front, Jared, or hang around in back and wait for everything else to happen. But as we've seen with this series, you're not guaranteed a caution at all.
No, you're not. And we'll see how that transpires as this race goes on here tonight. But Rachel Hunt going to be the pole setter. As we talked about it, Chris, I mean, this is a very competitive series. You have 3 drivers tied at the top. Darren Bruce was the winner last week, and what a race! Or last time we were here, or apologies, last time we were on the broadcast waves at Bristol, Darren Bruce snuck by and won a race. I mean, what a race it was. What can we expect here tonight at Talladega?
I think at this point you can expect anything. We've got Brad Patterson starting up here on the front row. Jared, if you remember correctly, he got maybe 6 laps in our first race and ended up having a DNF. He's looking to make a comeback here, and he's in a great place to start it as the pace car goes down pit road. Well, we still got a long ways to that start finish line.
Yes, we do. A long way down. Holding it steady. Now the leader can go whenever they want to go. Rachel Hunt holding them down as long as she can in the number 16 machine. And she's going to wait for the green flag. It's out, and here we are going racing at Talladega.
That we are, Jared. These drivers, all of them getting up through the gears here. It seems like it takes an eternity here to get up to speed, but once they're there, they're not going to come down. These drivers, all of them getting up through the gears here. It seems like it takes...
Getting very much packed in together, but nobody really spreading out right now.
No, Jared, I expect that we're going to see these drivers kind of run side by side here for a long time before they can get back to single file racing, if they ever do. These drivers, all of them are pretty competitive. I think they're going to be staying side by side here for a while, and with the track state that we came into here tonight, Jared, these cars are going to be fast. It's going to be hard to get a run without a lot of help.
4 drivers off the back, and that's those Warrior Motorsports drivers of Souza, Swope, and King. Also, Gil Gach back there at the back of this field. They're going to have to kind of catch up as Brian Bliss pushes Brad Patterson. He'll lead lap 1.
And now we have a 3-wide battle behind them in their third row there with Maines and Person on the inside. And then I believe that is Dean Doucette on the outside.
Dean Doucette.
Apologies, it's not.
Yeah, that's the...
It is. He's in a blue car tonight, Jared. Getting all mixed up here.
And Jason Maines going to the outside by himself around Brian Bliss, and that's probably going to take him to the back, I would assume, Chris.
Yeah, definitely a hard-fought battle to be there. He's able to get in behind Brian Bliss in that 18 machine, keeping the one right there. I believe he was trying to make some aggressive moves to get up to Rachel Hunt. He wants to get up there with his teammate and try to make moves early on. He looks to the inside of Bliss in the 18. He's going to make it 3 wide going down through the start-finish line.
He wants to get up front. He wants to get up quick. Russell Chernisky moves up to the high side from the low side. Ronnie Royal moves from the low side down to the bottom. There's the top 2 there. Brad Patterson leading as he has been able to slide down in front of Rachel Hunt. Jason Maines gets around Brian Bliss for second on that outside groove. But you look at the back here, I mean, it is pretty well packed up right now.
That it is, but right now that inside lane has the most amount of drivers in it. They're pushing ahead of that outside lane. That's why Brad Patterson hopped down in front of Hunt. He knows where the momentum is. He's looking to get this lane all the way around this outside lane so they can get single file here. No one will go around him at this point in the race just because they're trying to get laps in, Jared.
And it's been a difficult race already for some of these drivers. Got a couple drivers falling off the back here. Gil Gach, one of those. I thought that he was out there, but I guess not. But he is not on the track. But Brad Patterson continuing to lead over Rachel Hunt. Now, coming into tonight's race, we had the Thanksgiving break, but we also have some sadness in the Wind Tunnel family as Wayne Stansel, a driver and an organizer here that was a Navy SEAL vet, does a lot of work with the Navy SEALs, unfortunately passed away earlier this week, shortly after a race, ironically enough. And our thoughts and prayers are with his friends and family here tonight. And Wind Tunnel Racing going to put on a great show in his honor tonight as Brad Patterson leading, but Chernisky getting that move back to the front.
That he is, trying to make that outside lane work with the number 1 machine of Jason Maines pushing him to the front. Now they're side by side with your leaders going through 1.
And a great push it was, as Chris, you said it, Chris. Russell Chernisky getting there. Rachel Hunt clipping down to the bottom of that apron, and that almost got that car upset.
That it did, but you look at the run that they get on the inside coming out of the corner there because of the push that Rachel Hunt is giving Brad Patterson. They're going to slightly pull away, but now the 20 and the 1, they're making it work on the outside, but now just dead even with the second place. They're not quite close enough to be alongside your leader.
And here we go down the back straightaway. Dean Doucette again, or sorry, that's the out of turn 3 there. So Dean Doucette dropping to the back in that number 29 machine. And Dean Doucette, Darren Bruce, they're running those blue cars tonight, Chris, and that's what reminded me. They are running in honor of Wayne Stansel tonight. Darren Bruce and Dean Doucette running both the same paints that Wayne Stansel was going to run. So there you go, why he's in a different paint.
And you mentioned it. He's falling to the back. He looks like he found something up front that he was a little bit worried about. Wants to bring that car home safely, and it feels like being maybe up front, not quite the place to do it so far here tonight. But right now, we're side by side for the lead as Patterson has that number 20 all right beside him coming out of the corner.
Patterson leading, but he's got Russell Chernisky going on the outside. Can we have our first lead change of the night? Chernisky with a great run through the tri-oval.
Getting a great run, Chernisky is with Maines behind him. It looks like maybe Patterson still got that lap, Jared.
That was very close. Could not tell from the vantage point we had here at the box, but Patterson definitely edging out ahead now. Can Jason Maines get a little bit up there and push Chernisky to the front? As Chernisky kind of dropping back now a little bit. Hunt, Ronnie Royal, Brett, and Bernard Persson there on the bottom. Hanging tough, and Rachel Hunt a little bit loose on the backstretch.
And Jared, because she hops out like that, that's going to give the momentum to that outside lane. That's a little bit of an advantage for them now coming out of the corner, because just that little bit of movement by Hunt will upset the air on all those cars behind her. That means they can't push like they would like to.
Here comes Jason Maines and Chernisky again at the line. It's going to be Brad.
Yeah, it was Brad. It was real close, but it was definitely Brad, as they're doing everything they can to get that outside groove up there and to lead a lap. But it is so difficult here, and they pretty much have the same amount of cars on the inside as the outside. Makes it all that much more difficult to get a run on the other line.
Yeah, what a move there. But now Chernisky's got a little bit of a run down the back straightaway. Maines holding right there, but they just kind of seem to break apart there, Chris. Brian Bliss can't really get up to the back end of Maines, and that's kind of hurting that line.
That it is, and really these cars right now, it's early on, Jared. We haven't seen a lot of side drafting here, which is one thing that really makes these cars get a little bit of an advantage. But now that outside lane, they're not quite as organized as the inside, and it's going to show it as now Brad Patterson easily leads that lap.
9 laps in the books, and we have just a few more laps to go until we're going to have pit stops, Chris. I mean, these guys, they do run 100% fuel, so no real issues with that. But you have to think about the fact that this is a 70-lap race. So is the strategy to come in on 35?
Yeah, I think that would be an easy strategy to go, just so that way you know that you can make it and not have to worry about it. Other strategy may be that you're going to wait as long as possible, run this car out of fuel, and then not have to take as much fuel, because the lighter these cars are, Jared, the faster they tend to be, especially at the super speedway tracks like this. So that could be an advantage as well. But right now, the advantage, that's that inside lane. Brad Patterson leading. You can see the 20 of Chernisky is doing everything he possibly can to get up there, and they're able to get the run on the straightaways, but it seems like that bottom groove still gets the momentum out of the corner.
On board Lane Allen, and Chris, you look at that, 187 miles an hour through the turns. He's behind the number 71 there, Casey McMullen, but he never takes his foot out of the gas. 190 miles an hour right now.
And climbing as they go down the backstretch here, Jared. These drivers, every single one of them, pretty much got their foot completely pressed all the way down on that gas pedal. Maybe have their foot hovering on the brake pedal so they don't ram into the car in front of them. But this is a complete full throttle track here, and right now that's helping everyone on gas mileage except for the two up in the front of these lines. Brad Patterson and Chernisky are using way more fuel than the drivers behind them.
That's going to be something to see how this turns out, and that's a really good point, Chris. Fuel mileage, very crucial as we jump on board, looking out the back of Ronnie Royal's machine down to Bernard Persson. You see these lines starting to kind of get a little bit jukey here, Chris. Is that going to hurt him as this run goes on?
Well, as the run goes on, the tires on these cars, they'll start to get heated just that much more, and because of it, you'll start to see a little bit of the squirreliness that you're talking about. And really, Jared, that just makes it that much more easy to really get into one another or lose concentration for a minute and just make slight contact with another driver. That's majority of the times. That's how the big one here at Talladega happens.
You see Dean Doucette hanging out back with Baron Labasco, James Torrey, and Steve Loomis. Got smart guys back here. They don't want any part with going up front. And in a lot of races, we've seen them on our channel before. They don't really like to get up there and fight too early in these restrictor plate races. Looking through the rest of it, we got Dave Phillips. He's a new driver out here, looking pretty good out there running toward the back, taking his time. Chuck Sweeting there, Joe Flanagan in that blue car. He was kind of sneaking a nose out there, Chris, but nowhere really to go yet for these guys back in the middle and back of the field.
Absolutely correct, Jared. And while we were talking right then, it seems that it finally happened. The 20 got up there and led a lap, finally taking one away from Brad Patterson. But now Patterson easily is pulling away with car length over that now second place driver of Russell Chernesky.
Yeah, and to looking at that, Chris, Chernesky did get that lap led, had to look that one up, but good to see Russ back out here. He has been battling cancer, and it took him out of the racing season for the most part. Did not run any races this year. Had been in and around different things that we had broadcasted, and good to see Russ back out. And he is getting that car up front, getting some sponsorship time for the number 20 machine tonight.
Absolutely, he is really putting a hurt on the rest of the field, going out here showing a great running out for this number 20 car, really doing everything he possibly can, and kudos to Maines behind him, still doing everything he can to help get him there to the lead. I thought for a minute, Jared, he got enough of a run, he was going to be able to go down in front of Patterson. He elected not to. He enjoys having that one machine behind him. I think that's the reason why he didn't hop down there at this point in the race. He's trying to make buddies with that number 1 machine, and that may help him out in the end.
And Chris, you look at this. What is your strategy 14 laps into a super speedway like this? Not really anything you can go. You got to pit, one time here. What are you looking for when you're out there racing? Especially if you're in the 15th to 25th position.
I've watched Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart hang around in the back of enough of these Talladega races to know that back there does not matter. You still got to be up at the front towards the end of the race, and if you're back there for too long, you can still end up in trouble. If I'm any of these drivers, I'm wanting to qualify well like Rachel Hunt and Brad Patterson did so that I can stay up front all race long. It's so much easier to block people than it is to pass them. There's just that little worry that maybe too much of a block too late can spin you around.
Looking on board our drone camera down the back straightaway, Rachel Hunt, she is tucked right up on that 28 and then gets right off of it. The two Elliott Sadler Esports drivers, 16 and number 1. And that run by Rachel Hunt there, that's going to clear Rachel Hunt up there. Can she jump up in front of Russell? And it doesn't look like she's going to make that move, Chris.
Doesn't quite have the room to get up there. It's one of those things, Jared, that it's so tight of a window, you have to almost immediately do it before you're clear to be able to make it work. And sometimes it's just not worth the risk, especially with us being just so few laps into the race here. Still a long way to go. You don't want to make that mistake too early and just ride around here with a beat-up car.
Exactly right. But Patterson and Chernesky, they have been the two that have led. Rachel Hunt did get the pole, but unfortunately did not get a lap led to her credit. Now Jason Maines locked to the bumper of the number 20, shoving him back to the front.
Great shove to that number 20 machine. Unfortunately has to get out of it right before the corner, and now the inside lane showing that momentum through the middle of the corner. Shorter way around here, Jared, and they're making it work right now. Now Patterson going to be going through the try over here with the lead, but the momentum on the outside now as we're coming to the start-finish line.
Down the front, the start-finish line there, the side stretches. And, we got a few drivers kind of starting to dwindle back to the back of this pack, but really everybody's still content to run side by side right now. Jason Maines peeks his nose out there probably to get a little bit of some air on the front end of that. But, this is it frustrating to be in these packs like this, Chris, so early in the race where there's nothing you really can do?
It's certainly nerve-wracking for sure, Jared. being in this pack, not knowing what's going to happen. And as it goes on, you get more and more frustrated the longer the race goes on, just because you want to get up there and be competitive. And you're not going to be competitive if you're running back in the 20th position side by side here, and not so easily. You're going to have to figure out how to get up there and get up there quick. Right now, I think these drivers, they're all kind of playing it safe right now. Once we get that pit stop out of the way, it's all holds bar. At that point, you've got to go. You got to make the move. You got to figure out a way to be there at the end, and that's going to start from getting on and off of pit road. And these drivers, they're going to have to figure out how to do it and who they're going to do it with, so that they don't come out here alone and spend precious time getting caught back up to another car, because this is a track where you can really eat into your time if you're not pitting with a bunch of drivers.
And Chris, you look at this, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head about how important pitting is here at Talladega. And tonight's race brought to you by Pay to Win Setups. If you guys are interested in any setup and all your setup needs for everything from the A class, the B class, the C class, late models, even some road stuff, check out paytowinsetups.com and that is paytowin.com to check those guys out. And they provide all the setups you see here on Wind Tunnel Racing in their Xfinity series. So we got some guys out there watching right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully you got the message. The YouTube is down tonight. Something with the API didn't let me connect to it, unfortunately, but we will get that resolved and definitely have these back on YouTube and at least archived for next week. But right now, if you're just joining us, Brad Patterson has led all but 2 laps, according to my count, all but 1 lap, apologies. Chernesky did manage to get 1 lap led, but Chris, as you can see right now, Chernesky is starting to fall back. Actually, the top 3 have cleared him.
Yeah, absolutely, Jared. The inside line just seemed to get a little bit more organized there. A couple drivers from the outside lane found a hole to get in and decided to go to that bottom groove, and when they did, it really hurt the momentum of those drivers on the outside, and you can kind of see it looking up at these 2 different lines. You've got almost 6 cars on the inside line that are pretty much bumper to bumper, and because of that, Jared, they're getting a lot more momentum than the outside lane that's kind of got almost a car length in between the 3rd and 4th car, 5th car in line in that outside groove, just not able to get the move. Now, luckily for the 20 and the number 1, they seem to be able to keep really tight to one another. They're able to make up momentum on the inside lane, but it was certainly not easy for those 2.
Yeah, exactly right. And we got Keith Batson out there watching from Maine, and he is cheering on Brad Patterson because his all-time favorite driver is that paint scheme. So Davey Allison, I'm assuming, big Davey Allison fan there from Keith, watching that 28 car who won a lot of races at Talladega before his untimely death in 1993. Looking through the field, though, Chris, you got some guys starting to kind of shuffle their way down to the low side. You look at that bottom line, and it's starting to get longer and longer. Does that have any impact on why Chernesky's been dropping back a little bit?
Well, certainly it is part of the issue is that as the inside line grabs more and more drivers in it, it's going to make things a little bit harder just because more cars, faster in the draft, they're going to be able to get around. The problem is that right now, those drivers on the inside line, they're kind of separated into 2 groups almost. You've got the ones that are up here actually wanting to get up here and race, but then you've got a couple further back that are just kind of biding their time. You can actually hear the difference when you're inside the cockpits of these drivers. Like Chuck Sweeney back there, he's catching up to Jason Spear, and as he does, you can hear the sound of this car change, and you can also see that he's starting to get out of it a little bit more. That's giving the momentum to that outside groove, as now the 1 and the 20, they're trying to make it work. It's almost like the 2 cars in front of each of these lines, they're the ones that are working the hardest right now. Everyone else is kind of just riding around.
Yeah, well, I'm bored, Chuck Sweeney, and Chris, you're exactly right. 192 miles an hour. Gets a great draft through here, but then he's all the way out of the gas in the tri-oval. 186, 185 miles an hour before he picks it up. It almost sounds like he's clutching. Maybe a little fuel strategy going on for the number 75 tonight.
Certainly an interesting strategy, but again, the lighter the cars are, the faster they'll go at the end. You just want to go in here and get whatever fuel you need to get to the end of this race, Jared, and if you don't need them, you may leave those tires in the pits.
And you look at it, I mean, we're starting to get a little bit of a cloud move over the track. I mean, it's starting to get a little bit dark there This is an afternoon race, but it is something to keep an eye on as this track temperature has changed. Let's bring up the weather real quick, and you'll see it on the right-hand side. Yeah, that track temp, Chris, down to 90. We started at 97, down already to 90 degrees.
Just making these cars that much faster on an already fast track. Jason Maines looking to make it 3 wide. He's not content to ride around behind the 20 anymore.
And Maines to the top. We caught it just in time, and boy, oh boy, he's bringing some Toyotas with him as Brian Bliss goes up to the top side.
Going up to the top side, they're going to have the momentum coming out of the corner here and should be able to get around this 20 car. At least the one is. I don't know if Brian Bliss in the 18 will be able to do so, but he's certainly given the push down the back straightaway.
Nobody jumping up there to help him out. I cannot believe that nobody has decided to go 3 wide. Jason Maines, though, he says, I'm going to the front. He wants to get it done, and Brian Bliss trying to help him out as much as he can. Bernard Person loose on the apron, almost got that thing looped around. We got Matt McComas out here rooting on Carpenter, Swope, and Souza. Those guys hanging out and King. Those guys hanging out back, probably trying to avoid this mess up front as Brian Bliss and Maines get dumped.
They get dumped. They're up there in that high groove, and because everyone else saw the opportunity and went to that middle lane, they're stuck out there all by their lonesome. They're dropping like flies, Jared. Those 2 drivers, they're really going to be hurting for that one.
Maines tried to make something happen, and you'll see that those Warrior Motorsports guys there at the very tail end of the field definitely might have some fuel-saving options. Brian Bliss drops all the way off to the back. He has actually let off the gas and is dropping to the back. Jason Maines still putting up a fight, though.
That he is. It's a kind of a fault for nothing there, as he's going to end up losing even the position to Brian Bliss, most likely, just because he has no help up there. Up front, though, Jared, it may be a different pusher, but that 71's now pushing the 20 as well, and those 2 drivers now, they're still hooked up and looking to get a run on Brad Patterson and Rachel Hunt. Right now, though, not able to do so, but it's not going to be too long before they're side by side again, and it looks like Maines in the 1 was able to get in front of Brian Bliss, but still those 2 drivers not quite up to the speed. Looks like that entire inside lane is going to get around them as well.
And Russell Chernisky, great push by the 71, and all of a sudden Chernisky's trying to go back to the front, but Brad Patterson, I mean, he's led 24 of the 25 completed laps, Chris. I mean, he only needs to lead 10 more, and he's clinched that second bonus point for most laps led tonight, no matter how this race turns out. Now, this is a late afternoon race. I meant to preface that. So we're approaching about 5 o'clock, and that is something to keep an eye on as well. Those track temperatures going to continue to go down. But right now, Patterson continuing to hold off the field here as we're approaching our first round of pit stops soon.
That we are, Jared. It's so interesting to see these drivers working together here. Maines just made a judgment call and kind of didn't work out for him. Now he's down on the apron here all by his lonesome. Maybe now he's thinking maybe he should come in and pit a little bit earlier, try to find someone to help him. But right now, that number 20 car, Jared, he's got a nose over the 28.
Yeah, and he's going to get a good push off of turn number 4. Can Russell Chernisky maybe get himself up to the front? We're about to find out here as they're side by side. We go on board the drone cam and see who gets at the line. It's going to be Brad Patterson still.
Brad Patterson by 200ths that lap, but they're still dead even going through the corner here. It's so interesting to see that inside lane can pull about a car length on the outside lane in the corners, but loses almost all of the momentum on the straights.
And look at everybody single file down there at the bottom, Chris. People are starting to get ready for pit stops. You can definitely tell.
You certainly can, and they're definitely getting antsy for it. At this point, you want to figure out a way to get yourself down there, and I don't know that was exactly the way that Jason Maines wanted to get to the down to that inside lane, but it kind of got him there, even if it wasn't exactly the way he was expecting it to do so. And now, a lot of these drivers are kind of setting themselves up to pit in a cycle of maybe 2 or 3 different laps here, with this inside lane having the majority of those drafting partners.
Chernisky didn't get the help through the turn. for McMullen there, but doesn't really matter too much at this point in the race. But there was only, Chris, if I count that correctly, 8 cars on the high side. Everybody else has dropped to the bottom.
That they have, and it's interesting to see how they're able to still make that outside lane work. And I think that's in part due to Jason Spear in that 83 machine. He kind of seems to backed off as we have a car that jumped from the high groove to the low groove there, right in front of Spear. That was just an interesting moment. It really hurt the momentum of that inside lane. And even though they have the most amount of cars, you've got all of these drivers kind of spread out. It's really not helping their case.
So let's talk about Baron Labasco, Chris. He was a driver who's running back in about 26th position, but he actually decided to go ahead and move up to the top groove, and he picked up 9 spots just by moving up to the top side. Do you like that move? Like, if you're hanging out back, but now do you take the opportunity to gain some position? We got something happening here in front
Brad
here.
Patterson got a little bit of loose through the corner. Don't know if Rachel Hunt got into him, but he got sent to the apron. That's going to send him flying back to the back of the pack. 3 wide action. Everyone gets through it cleanly. But now, new leader, your number 20. He's back up here, and now he's going to lead more than just a couple of laps, Jared.
Holy cow. Let's see what happened to Brad Patterson as we were kind of talking about some other things there, but my goodness, what in the heck has happened here?
Things happen in a hurry at these big super speedway type racetracks, and we saw it right there.
So here we go. Brad Patterson there on the inside line. And Rachel Hunt right behind him. Chernisky there. And Patterson just looks like he got let up or something, Chris. That was very strange. But good job by Tim Bills not to run into Darren Bruce. A lot of guys back there could have had a big wreck, but everybody avoids it. But that was very strange. It's almost like he lost throttle or something.
Yeah, it's one of the interesting things. We'll have to ask Brad what exactly happened, but now that's given over the lead to the number 20 of Russell Chernowski, and Casey McMullen went along with him. Those 2 drivers that were in the outside lane, Jared, now they're on the inside. They're going to have to make it work as Lane Allen, he's trying to push his way up towards the front.
So is Paul Schmallenberg. He has got himself second to the outside line there behind Lane Allen. He's pushing the Lane Allen machine. They've shuffled out Burt Wilson. He goes to the high side there in the number 70 machine. Or sorry, that's Glenn Jamison, 63. So Paul Schmallenberg, good job for him, the Michigan driver, up to second place, and he's shoving Lane Allen to the lead.
Schmallenberg doing everything he possibly can to push Lane Allen. Lane Allen going to dip down low, but now that's going to open up the door for the 90 machine on the outside. See if he can get up there and maybe he can take the lead.
Schmallenberg, he's got Baron Labasco, and I don't think Baron was trying to get up here right now. I think he was trying to just pick up some spots, kind of be coy with it, and ended up getting to second on the outside line. He's got the number, I think that is the number 89 of Dave Phillips, 2 new drivers making their debuts here tonight in Wind Tunnel Racing. And right now, I think Schmallenberg got that lap. Yes, he did.
Absolutely got that lap and moving away. Now both the 2 drivers in that outside lane have cleared that inside lane. If they stay there, it'll be interesting. At this point, though, Jared, they're still not going down, making the move. No, they're going to stay on that outside lane and commit.
They're pulling those guys that helped him. I like this move, but at some point in time, they're trying to pull David Phillips along, but I think Baron Labasco is going to have to drop. Yeah, he does. And he's like, I'm sorry, Paul, got to go. Baron Labasco to the bottom.
And that's a smart move, using that momentum of the down below line to get yourself back up into position. Now he's going to take over the lead here in that 54 machine.
26 laps were complete. Brad Patterson led 25 of them as we have several drivers on pit road. It is the Spear Motorsports guys. Person, Royal, Nearad, and Jason Spear all on pit road, Chris.
4 drivers making it to pit road. Be interesting to see how they make out when they come off of pit road here, as these drivers up front still looks like they're going to be side by side this lap. And now it looks like Schwarzenberg in that 90 is going to take back the lead, pulling alongside and past the number 54 of Labasco.
Schmallenberg doing a great job there on the outside. Labasco staying tough on the inside line. And Dave Phillips, so 2 new guys laid in that outside line, doing a great job here tonight. Anybody else coming in this time? Yes, we got a lot more coming in. Chernisky's in. Oh, he locks up. He misses pit road. Russell Chernisky has
pit
missed
road
it.
Completely. Wow. that just shows how difficult it is to get on and off of pit road here, Jared, as all of these drivers were doing everything they can, locking it up. Lane Allen, Casey McMullen, Andrew Polisky, Brad Patterson, Dean Doucette, Stephen Vrooman. Wow, just an incredible amount of drivers elected to pit that lap.
Dave King, Elliott Swope, all in. There's Bernard Person. He is still out there. Or they're on the back straightaway. So now we have this lead group that is led by Schmallenberg, Phillips, Labasco, Sweeting, Bruce, Hunt, Bills, Jamison, Bartel, Maines, and Carpenter. Your remaining guys. Here's Vrooman's the first one off pit road from that second group. Let's see where everybody starts cycling in. Here comes Rachel Hunt by herself. No, she's going to bring 10 Bills with her. And TJ Bartel and Jason Maines.
And interesting to see your leaders staying out. That's the number 90, the 89, 54, 74, and 4 all electing to stay out here. It's a huge mix of strategies. Who's going to come out on top? It's going to be interesting to see. Will short pitting get the Spear Motorsports drivers to the front, or will they fall to the wayside of these bigger packs coming off of pit road?
I like the move by Schmallenberg, Phillips, and these guys to stay out longer, because I would much rather have less and Dave King doesn't know where the leaders are going, nearly gets into Schmallenberg. Schmallenberg has to take evasive action to the apron, does a great job holding on.
Now this won't hurt him too bad if he can keep the momentum and all these drivers pit here, which it looks like they're going to do, as long as he can get back up there.
Labasco stays out by himself. Oh, no.
What? That is not going to be a fun move for Labasco.
So Bernard Person, he's going to take over the lead. But Chris, as I was saying, I like the move by these guys. If you could stay out, because you don't want to run out of fuel. I think some of these guys that may have pitted on 33, 34, there might be a fuel mileage issue coming up for these guys. But we'll see how it plays out.
Certainly an possibility. Don't know that it will matter too much as long as you're not the leader. But right now, Bernard Person, he's the one leading this, the pitted cars, if you will, as Labasco's still on the track.
Bruce, Chernisky, Sweeting, and Phillips all leaving pit road right now. So great job by these guys to kind of leave together, but Bernard Person's going to blow right by him.
Absolutely, and you can see just how much faster Bernard Person and those drivers are as they go around them in the apron there, and now that just shows what that short pitting will do when you can get a good group of cars together and stay single file, as now once Labasco pits, Person's going to be leading this race, and those drivers, if they can keep it single file, they may be able to pull away from the group behind them that are still fighting side by side.
8 cars in this pack. Person, Royal, Nearad, Spear, Vrooman, Polisky, Allen, and McMullen. That second pack is led by Brad Patterson and Dean Doucette. We had some guys in the chat asking where Brad Patterson is. He is leading that second group. He's about a second behind. And there's Baron Labasco coming off pit road right now. He is going to lose a boatload of time. But there's the second group. Patterson, Doucette, Elliott Swope, Rachel Hunt, Chuck Sweeting, TJ Bartel, Phillips, and Wilson all in this group. Then we have Flanagan, Jamison, Maines, kind of in that second group. So not a lot of separation, Chris. Maybe just a couple gaps here and there, but really at the end of the day, this field's going to bunch back up here in a few laps.
Oh, I don't even think it's going to be a few laps. As you can see, Brad Patterson is closing in on the 71, and I think part of that has to do with them trying to make that second group. They're there, Jared. That second group has now caught the lead pack, making this group just that much more bigger. Looks like now we'll have, I believe, 16 cars all right here together.
TJ Bartel, the last of those. Burt Wilson, just a little bit off from this group, so this group is losing time, as there's only 5 of them. Phillips, Wilson, Flanagan, Maines, and Bruce, along with Glenn Jamison. But right now, Lane Allen to the lead.
Doing his best to get that push out of the corner with Casey McMullen behind him. They really did a great job of using the momentum of that second pack to get up here and push themselves up into the lead.
Lane Allen trying to get it done. Casey McMullen, we've seen these guys before racing together on super speedways and have not had the results maybe they're looking for. As we got a driver heading down pit road that looked like one of one of the Warrior Motorsports guys, Michael Carpenter, down pit road. And right now, Bernard Person's still holding him off. But Chris, I have to be pretty concerned that these guys pitted on lap 33, and there was only 4 of them. I mean, they had to have used more fuel.
They certainly have used a little bit, or will need a little bit more fuel than everyone else on the track. They may be able to make it work. It looks like Michael Carpenter serving a penalty from pit road, though.
And we look at some of those drivers. I mean, Michael Carpenter with the penalty. Rick Souza, possible entering penalty. Cost him some time. But that looks like the only 2 drivers with penalties, except for Russell Charnisky, who got dinged for speeding and unsafe pit entry. So he is now well and true out of this race unless we get a couple cautions to get him back on the lead lap. But right now, Bernard Person leading with Ronnie Royal shoving him down the straightaway.
That he is, and getting the great run here. I like the strategy call by doing the short pitting. It kept you out of harm's way with the multitude of other drivers and going to pit road. The only worry that I have, just the same as you, is if they have enough fuel to get to the end. Now, Jared, they may have been able to figure out exactly how much fuel they were going to need and started to save immediately in that first run, and that could help them out here. However, at the same time, they could be hurting themselves by being up here up front, at least Bernard Person being the leader of this pack, whereas we know Lane Allen back there has a little bit more fuel. Just 1 lap here, fuel more, can make all the world of difference at such a huge track.
Chris, I want to focus in on this second group. Jason Maines and Darren Bruce got to the lead of this second group, and they have, by themselves, brought those 5 cars back to the group. So we have gotten everybody back in pretty much a big group. The top 20, I should say, back in a pack now.
That they are, and it was interesting to see how they're able to do it. It just goes to show what a single file line of cars can do at this track, Jared, as the lead pack running side by side here, running much slower times. Now Maine's looking to make it 3 wide, creating a middle groove here. He's going to push, I believe that is
Dave Phillips up the track.
Out up the track, and he'll fall to the rear of this pack here, Jared. But interesting way to use that momentum to gain a couple of spots here. Maine's looking to do everything he can. We saw him be a great pusher. He wants to get back up here and contend for this win, just like all the rest of these drivers. And it's a tough battle in this top 20.
And he's right back on Chernisky again. But Chernisky, again, he is 3 laps down in 30th or 29th position now that Michael Carpenter with those penalties and likely out of the race. But Chris, you look at this battle. We're now past halfway. We've got about 27 laps to go. When is your go time to go to the front as you see Chernisky drop to the back?
I think, Jared, at this point, you are trying to go as hard as you possibly can after this pit stop, just because at this point, unless there's a caution and you get damaged, you're not going to be going down pit road again. So you know that you've got to go ahead and start making slight moves to get yourself up into position here. You don't want to be in 20th with 5 laps to go. You're just not going to have enough time to get up there and do anything. So I think within maybe 20 laps to go, 25 laps to go, you're going to start seeing these drivers start to get a little bit more aggressive, and that's pretty much the next lap.
So we'll see what happens. Can somebody back there start making moves? I've watched so many restrictor plate races, and I think sometimes guys lull themselves into a false sense of maybe just kind of, maybe, I don't know, Chris, they kind of lured themselves into kind of relaxing too much, and then they kind of get paralyzed, and they don't make a move, and then it's way too late to make a move.
Absolutely, Jerry. The drivers will go around these racetracks feeling comfortable, and really this is a track where if you start to feel comfortable, you're not really running the track all that much, and that'll start to really hurt your momentum in this race, just because you'll kind of fall into the groove of, or the mindset of, well, at least I'm going to finish good if I finish exactly where I am, and maybe you're not willing to be as aggressive as it's going to take to be able to get up here and work your way up into the top 5 or even a podium position.
So see what happens as this race goes on. But right now, it is all Bernard Person, who has not relinquished the lead since taking it after Baron Labasco pitted on lap 37. He's led since that point. Right now, Brad Patterson led 25 laps. Then we had some drivers lead 1 lap each. Schmallenberg, Phillips, Charnisky all led laps here tonight, and Lane Allen nipped one out as well. But right now, coming to 15 to go, Chris. 25 to go. Apologies.
25 to go. And it's interesting to see that Lane Allen and Casey McMullen have not been able to make that outside groove work near as well as some of these other drivers have been able to do so. They're able to get kind of to the quarter panel of the 8 machine, but certainly not enough momentum to get up and around. They can get alongside, but it just doesn't seem like they're quite as able to get the run on the outside groove like we've seen here earlier tonight.
Somebody dropping down the apron, and they'll drop to the back of this pack. I believe that was Elliott Swope. Yes, it was. He got a little bit loose there, but he's going to be able to catch back up, I think. But he's unfortunately lost all of his teammates in this group. But right now, 25 to go, and it's still status quo up front.
Yeah, these drivers, Jared, they're kind of playing it comfortable again at the moment. Even though they're side by side, it's kind of hard to imagine saying comfortable when you're side by side with another car going 185, 187 miles an hour through this racetrack here. But it seems like that's what we're seeing. No one's really getting too close to either car on the lane behind them, except for now we've got it 3 wide back here behind them. Rachel Hunt looking to make that outside lane work, making it 3 wide. She wants to get back up towards the front.
Yeah, Jason Maines, her teammate, started that move. He got himself up to the high side. Rachel Hunt decided to go out there with him. And now what can these guys do and ladies do? Joe Flanagan jumps up there as well as Darren Bruce and Russell Chernisky.
Well, Jared, it's interesting to see. Maines made that move earlier in the race. Didn't work out for him. Now he's got the opportunity to push his teammate back up to the front. And now with this 3 wide racing, these drivers make it a little bit more risky going through the corners here on that outside lane. But it can be all that much more worth it. And we can kind of see that it's working at the moment as Rachel Hunt is almost to alongside the 28 of Brad Patterson now.
Now, Chris, I'm focusing in real quick on some lap drivers. Rick Souza back there. What do they do in this circumstance, Chris?
Well, it's luckily in the iRacing world, Jared, you're able to talk to the leaders and figure out where they want you to go. The problem is that that's great for the leaders if they're only single file, but when 3 wide racing, that makes it all that more difficult. And right now, that's what we've got going on in the middle of this lead pack here. It's going to make things certainly interesting. You can see the leaders going up to the middle groove here to try to get around these teammates that have kind of fallen back here. But now that's going to make it all that more hard for Truck Sweeney, who's stuck on that middle groove. They'll be able to do it if they can get through on the straightaway. But unfortunately, it looks like they're going to be 4 wide going through the corner.
Uh-oh. This is where things get tense. There's Chuck Sweeting. They are 4 wide. They're contacting, and they don't wreck. They're still contacting. Yes, they do wreck. Chuck Sweeting around into Rachel Hunt, down into, Joe Flanagan goes flying. Glenn Jamieson, and I knew, Chris, whenever you see some lap traffic and you're 3 wide, it almost 100% guarantees a wreck, and there it was.
That is the first caution of the night, coming with just 21 laps to go, Jared. What an incredible moment there. We always talk about it, how hard it is to get around lap traffic here. Even though you can talk to them, it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, they've got to be able to work with you and be able to get far enough out of the way so that every one of those drivers feel comfortable going 4 wide. And unfortunately, right then, someone wasn't comfortable and made it just that much close, and we end up with a big wreck.
Yeah, let's take a look at that replay one more time there, and it looked like there was contact between Rachel Hunt and I believe Dean Doucette. I think that's Dean Doucette there. So 3 wide, and then they become 4 wide. Doucette moves up into Rachel Hunt. They're fine there. But then the 31, Rick Souza, kind of moves up into Chuck Sweeting, and that's where the real wreck happened. TJ Bartell gets collected. So does Glenn Jamieson. So does Burt Wilson. Joe Flanagan. Man, tough break for those guys at the back.
And just like that, Jared, this race has completely changed for a couple of these different drivers. Luckily, a few of them were able to make it through. Jason Maines, teammate to Rachel Hunt, he makes it through unscathed in a very tight window he had to go through. But unfortunately, his teammate Rachel Hunt, not near as lucky. She's got damage to the left front of that machine pretty heavily, and the left rear.
And some guys there made it through there. We'll take another look at this replay, but some great saves. Tell you who else has benefited. Baron Labasco, James Torrey, Tim Bills, Stephen Loomis, Brian Bliss, and Paul Schmallenberg, who had fallen almost 30 seconds behind the leaders. They weren't, as far off as Rick Souza and those guys, but they were pretty far off, and unbelievable that they were able to get this caution. Now they're back in the hunt. Let's take another look at this because, man, there's some drivers going all over the place through here.
Absolutely.
So on board Elliott Swope, he is off the back, and he sees this everything going through here, and you pretty much see everything from his vantage point there, and he's able to get around it. And that, my goodness, I mean, that whole track was blocked there. But up front, Bernard Person, who did not probably want to see this caution come out, and then Ronnie Royal also.
What a smart move by Elliott Swope, though, Jared, just to slow that number 21 machine down and let it all happen in front of him. He saw it coming, immediately got on the brake and slowed that car enough down that he was able to go wherever the cars weren't. But a great move by him. But interesting note, we had some takers on pit road, Jared, and that's going to mix things up as well. Was not expecting people to come down. TJ Bartel, Jason Maines, Darren Bruce, Elliott Swope, Joe Flanagan, of course Rachel Hunt as well for her damage, Baron Labasco and James Torrey as well, and Brian Bliss. So it'll be interesting to see if these drivers are able to use those fresh tires that they have and get up here and make something of it. It'll be hard to do when we go back green here for, I believe, 18 laps to go.
Well, Chris, you look at some of these times, it looks like Labasco just came down and maybe took 2 tires. Schmallenberg did not come in. So Labasco, the first of the group to come in. Jason Maines came in along with Swope, Bliss, and Torrey. Torrey might have had some damage. He had a long stop, 22.5 seconds. Darren Bruce, he did get caught up in that wreck just a little bit, 38 seconds. And then Dave King, our lucky dog, he will go around. He did not get in that wreck. But he'll have his chance to make a pit stop. Joe Flanagan back out on the track, but missing the front hood. That's not going to be good. And Rachel Hunt back out as well, missing the rear clip and the right front of that car as well.
Now Bernard Person is going to have Ronnie Royal starting on beside him here as we get ready to go green here. They'll start to get it side by side. It looks like the next lap. But it'll be interesting to see what these drivers will do. Actually, take that back. They're going to get side by side now as the lights are off the pace car. One lower lap around here before we go back green. These drivers, they've been nose to tail. Now Royal going to start on the outside here. Will Lane Allen in the 14 push him to the lead? Or are they going to try to jump down to that low line and try to make it work from there? Case McMullen will still be behind Lane Allen in that 14 and the 7-1 of McMullen. Be interesting to see if those two can get up there and make a move to get the lead away, but they've kind of not had the speed in the outside lane as we've seen previously. So right now that inside groove has kind of prevailed for the last couple of laps here. Excuse me.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good point, Chris, is, what now, flipping the script a little bit, 20 laps to go. They're going to get the restart with 18 laps to go. What do you do now? We've seen the 3 wide didn't really work out well, but there was some potential for it to work. Do guys go back to that?
I think at this point we're not going to have to worry too much about it until we get into maybe 5 laps to go, Jared. Then these drivers, whoever's in the top 20, are going to do whatever they possibly can, and that's going to mean 3 wide at the end here, maybe even 4 wide, which we've already seen can end disastrous if it's with the wrong group of people or if there's just a slight amount of contact.
We'll see what happens as this race coming down to its conclusion. Person leading with Ronnie Royal there in row 2, Dale Nearad and Jason Spear, McMullen, Vrooman, Patterson, Poliski, and Dean Doucette, your top 10. Pace car down to pit road.
These drivers coming through the trial, getting ready to hit that Geico restart zone Bernard Person going to lead them to the flag here, and he gets ready. He's going. He's got a little bit of a lead there over that cars behind him. Be interesting to see if that's going to hurt the 8 machine.
No, it works out beautifully as Ronnie Royal is able to tuck in line, and everybody else really spread out behind him.
You think that was a little bit of teammates playing teammates there, Jared?
I don't know, but they played it good if it was. Lane Allen, Casey Mullen by themselves on the high side. Everybody else to the low side. Dean Doucette, though, trying to make a move up to the top, but he drops to the bottom as well.
Brad Patterson, that 28, he's going to look to join that outside group. But that inside lane has the majority of this group, Jared. But look how spread out the field is at this point.
Very spread out, and you know, you had some guys that were down on power kind of in the middle there of the group as well, and that is definitely hurting some of that speed. But right now, you look at this, Bernard Person up to the front, and nobody really been able to jump up there and help Lane Allen out.
No, not at all. And now you've got Dean Doucette on that outside groove there. It looks like he's going to try to make it work, but now Jason Maines back there making it 3 wide again in this pack.
Jason Maines goes underneath Tim Bills, leaves him hung out to dry, brings Phillips along with him and Labasco. Or sorry, that is Wilson and Labasco. Bills to the high side.
Bill's still stuck on there all by himself. Now these drivers side by side here, Jared, it'll be interesting to see if a couple of those drivers that are in that second pack are able to catch back up with this side by side racing.
Yeah, some guys must have fell asleep at the wheel back there because there is already a massive gap formed on that restart. And that is definitely going to hurt some of these guys in this pack. But at the same time, if there's a big wreck, they can slide right by it. So we'll see how that plays off. But right now, Tim Bills doing still hanging on the outside. He is not wanting to drop back in line. He's going to go on the 3 wide by himself, and that is going to help bring that second pack maybe back to the front.
It certainly is. The interesting how these lanes are both functioning right now. It doesn't seem like Lane Allen and Casey McMullen can really get a good run at the moment in the outside lane. At some point, Casey McMullen is going to have to push just that much harder on Lane Allen's bumper.
And here comes through the tri-oval, 15 laps to go, so not a lot of time. If somebody back in the middle of this pack, or they're going to have to start making moves to the front. Tim Bills is really hanging out there on the 3 wide by himself. Not able to move forward, though, but now Jason Maines maybe looking to the high side, doesn't.
He gives a little bit of air to Tim Bills, and you can see what it did. Bills now goes up one more car on that outside line, but it's going to be incredibly difficult to do that by yourself, Jared.
You see Tim Bills down there by himself on the high side, and that's just bringing that second group back into the picture. Bills is now alongside Jason Maines, because, the thing, Chris, there might not be more speed up there or anything like that, but he is not letting off the gas. He is able to mash it the whole time, and that's what's been able to really kind of keep him moving forward. Now Baron Labasco goes up there with him, and now Tim Bills by himself is really making some moves.
That he is. It's hurting, though, that outside lane as they're getting no momentum off this corner. Now Bills pretty much to the quarter panel of the 71 of Casey McMullen. These two drivers up here on the outside lane, they're kind of making it like the car of tomorrow days, Jared, as the two cars tandem drafting around this group.
Maines decides to join at the last second. Tim Bills, he's going to go to the front. He is now side by side, and I thought he was going to drop down, but he doesn't.
Got a little bit loose in the middle of the corner there with the push from Labasco and had to get out of it. Both those drivers, though, must be communicating because, Jared, at the same time, they both lifted just enough to keep momentum without spinning out Bills there on that outside lane. But now it's 3 wide for your lead.
Labasco and Bills on that high side. Maines trying to push them. Then you have Lane Allen in that white Lowe's machine. He is in the middle. And Bernard Person in the red 8. He is at the bottom. And now Bills. And Bill's loose. My goodness, he's loose.
Wow, Jared, these drivers, every single one of them trying to do whatever they possibly can. We talked about how long you were going to wait. Well, we saw it right there. Tim Bills, he was willing to try it all by himself. Only got a little bit of help towards the end to get himself up here, but now they're up as they get more and more cars in this pack. That outside groove just not able to get up there to the leaders again.
Charneski jumps up there. So it's 4 drivers in that high side groove. I think that they get one more, they might be able to get going, Chris.
It's possible, but now you've got so many cars on this inside lane, it's going to be real difficult to be able to get up there without doing a ton of side drafting. And side drafting when you're just too wide is hard enough. When you're, big wiggle back there by Labasco.
Baron Labasco was so loose there, Chris. I don't know how they didn't just wad him up, but they didn't. Good driving by those guys.
Wow, he gathers it up. Otherwise, we'd have been looking at basically the entire field caught up in that one.
And here we go down this straightaway once again. And Bill's still trying to get it done on that high side, but only 4 drivers. They really need one more or two, at least 2 more. 2 more would probably get them to the lead.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see if Lane Allen or Casey McMullen sees them coming with a head of steam and elects to go up there and block the momentum and use the momentum to try to get themselves up there. Casey McMullen, he's not going to have the opportunity as Bills has now made his way back up to the side of him.
Bills with a great run off the turn. Oh my goodness, side drafting Lane Allen. And he is really, really aggressive with that side draft. And everybody, you can see the spacing is getting tighter and tighter every lap we go.
Coming to 10 to go, these drivers, they know what's on the line. They want to get up here and show that they have the speed to win this race, and now is the time to do it. But right now, you've got Person leading the inside, Lane Allen in the middle, and Tim Bills on the outside lane, as this is going to be an incredible battle. 10 to go, Jared.
10 to go, and I'm surprised. You look at some of those guys toward the back. I mean, Rachel Hunt not dropping up there. Now, I know she has damage, but still not moving up there. The Warrior Motorsports guy, oh my goodness, almost contact between Lane Allen and Tim Bills.
How they didn't touch Jared, I have no clue. They were so incredibly close. You couldn't have held a quarter between those 2 cars. Oh, Labasco catches the wall on the outside.
Labasco does nudge the wall just a little bit. We jump on board Dean Doucette, and that's going to, you see it already, just dropping like a rock. Tim Bills by himself, and Dean Doucette, he's going to fly by on the inside. So everybody passing that 3rd groove, that run might be over.
Might be over. Tim Bill's going to have to use an aggressive side draft.
Oh, here
Dean
comes
Doucette going to go on the outside as well. He saw that it could work. He's going to go up there and try to get Bills to push him. And Brad Patterson as well.
Brad Patterson in the 28. He led 25 laps. I believe he will clinch the most laps led here tonight, but he is trying to get himself back to the front. Labasco definitely got a little bit of aero damage because he is not able to keep that car up on the back bumper anymore, but let's see what happens here. 3 wide down the back straightaway.
3 wide. Brad Patterson may have led the most laps here tonight, but that's not enough. He wants to win. He's going to go up there with Dean Doucette trying to push him to the lead here on that outside group. 5 drivers up on that outside groove. So many different ways that this can work out, Jared, as we're coming to 8 to go.
8 to go. 3 deep. My goodness, I don't even know. Let's see here. We got 3 deep and 6 deep, 3 wide up at the front. But right now, Lane Allen did lead that last lap, or came very close to it. It looks like he did not get credit for it, but I could have sworn it was him on the screen. But my goodness, what can Brad Patterson? They just need 1 or 2 more people on that high side. But I'm kind of surprised, Cherniski's not jumping up there. There's a couple other drivers. I don't know. I would gamble, in my opinion, to go up there and just see what can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the very least, if you're any of these guys that are in the back of this pack, you can easily pick up a couple of spots here and there, and that's exactly what a couple of these drivers are going to need here just to get up. And you want these points positions, even if it doesn't mean you're getting a top 5, just any more position that you can get. Those are valuable points, Jared, and these drivers are going to wish that they had them towards the end, but now it looks like the battle here for the win right now at the moment, Person on that inside groove, he's got the momentum.
Person's got the momentum, but they need something there. Look at Burt Wilson. Where did he come from? He's up to third in that middle groove. Bernard Person, though, he's got the clearest seat in the house. He doesn't have to worry about anything going on right now because he's in front of all the action. Spotter cam view, and you can see just how deep everybody's running right now. Unbelievable.
It's an impressive run here by these drivers. Every single one of them doing everything they can. You know, at this point, no one's lifting at all, Jared. They're trying to get up there to push these bumpers as hard as they possibly can. And right now, though, that middle lane is still able to keep the momentum off of the outside lane. And that's doing great for your leader, Bernard Person, on the inside still.
There's 3 drivers that have not chose a lane. They're just kind of hanging back. I think that's the Warrior Motorsports guys. There are more drivers on the inside line, but the middle and the outside are about the same. As you see Brad Paris with this massive run down the back straightaway. Lane Allen starting to lose some time in the middle.
That he is. The outside lane, though, Jared, it's only got really 3 drivers as Brad Patterson jumps down to that middle lane.
Brad Patterson going to in front of Lane Allen. Now he's going to go down there and try to side draft Ronnie Will. They've got to break up those spear guys.
That they do, and you can see what it did to Dean Doucette as he immediately lost momentum as soon as the air hit that car. Now him and Bills will have to fight their way back up to the front, and now you've got the 28 pretty much alongside the 8 machine going into the corner.
5 laps to go. Brad Patterson trying to grab the win. Bernard Person trying to hold him off. They've been the 2 best cars here tonight for the most part. And right now, coming off the corner, Brad Patterson about second, third right now overall. Just not able to get that momentum. But now the Warrior Motorsports guys, they've elected to go to the high side, it looks like. Nope, they're driving back down to the middle. So going to really influence how this race turns out, those guys at the back, if they get up there.
That they are. Dean Doucette, though, he's getting the momentum again on that outside groove and really doing everything he can. He's trying to get back up there with Tim Bills, doing a little bit of aggressive side drafting here, but still not quite able to get there. And really, Jared, as soon as Casey McMullen's going to go to the outside groove right in front of Doucette. That's going to hurt the momentum of Patterson.
Casey McMullen up to the high side. Lane Allen has to stay low, or does he? Now we've got more cars on the high side. 4 laps to go.
4 laps to go, and Bernard Person is loving them switching up those outside lane because that's just giving him that much more momentum on the inside as another car jumps to the outside lane.
Charnisky there, and now it is pretty much, I think, oh my goodness, Burt Wilson got a little bit tight in the middle of that corner, but does a good job. Looks like the Warrior, we got one driver, Chris, that is off pace, that is getting caught rapidly. I don't know who that is.
It's the 26th position driver of, I believe that is Glenn Jameson, and he's actually been on the apron here. He's letting these cars go by, not much of a factor. They've passed him a couple of times. I'm definitely worried about it, but he's being a pretty good sportsman and staying to the apron.
Brad Patterson, he's getting cheered on by Keith Batson out in the chat tonight, rooting on Davey, and I think he is side by side with Bernard Person.
That he is, Jared. Lane Allen giving a great push down the back straightaway, give him a little bit of advantage going into the corner, but we've seen it all night. That inside groove gets the momentum going through the middle of the corner. Then the outside groove will get the momentum coming out of the corner, and that's exactly what's happening. Brad Patterson is trying to do everything he possibly can to get up there alongside the 8 machine with the help from Lane Allen in the 14.
2 to go at the line. Bernard Person will lead that lap, but not by much over Brad Patterson. Patterson does have the momentum coming through the tri-oval.
The push from Lane Allen doing everything he possibly can to get him up there. And it was so close, Jared. I don't even have a clue how you could tell which one led that lap. Now going down the back straightaway here, Lane Allen pushing the 28 as hard as he possibly can. Those cars all getting squirrely. Big wreck behind them, though. Oh, single car wreck as we are able to keep a couple of them going in the right direction. No caution as of yet.
And we'll try to get a look at that unless we get a caution. We'll look at that at the end of the race. Right now, Bernard Person still leading up front. Brad Patterson trying to get it done. 2 laps to go. White flag in the air for the flagman last time around here at Talladega.
And Patterson doing everything he possibly can with Lane Allen behind him. Not enough that lap. Give that one to Person. But the next one, the only one that matters here tonight, Brad Patterson's going to do everything he can to get up there. And they're so squirrely through the middle of the corner on that bottom groove, Jared.
Ronnie Royal got loose down the straightaway, but he does hold on to it. Does a great job. Now Brad Patterson dropping back, and these guys nose to tail. They know it's time to go. Brad Patterson's dropped back to 4th place. The third groove, not a factor at this point. Bernard Person off of turn number 4. Brad Patterson's nowhere near who's going to pull out and try to pass Person.
Teammates behind him now. Ronald Royal in the 24 looked to do it, decided not to. Now the 27 poking his nose underneath, still not going anywhere. Now we've got a wreck behind them, a huge wreck, but it's going to be Bernard Person winning the race.
Bernard Person holding off. Ronnie Royal. Brad Patterson will grab 3rd. Nearad 4th. Lane Allen 5th. Jason Spears 6th. Maines, Vrooman, Bills, and Wilson your top 10, as we had a big wreck at the end of that race. But at the end of the day, it is Bernard Person in the 8 machine getting the win, his first of the season here at Talladega.
What an incredible finish here at the end. The teammates looked like they were going to end up poking out there and try to get around Person, elected not to do it. And really, Jared, I don't know that it would have helped them at all. I don't know that they could have gotten around Person.
Yeah, very difficult. I mean, they are, all 3 of those guys are teammates. So there's that's going for it. But and Brad Patterson was coming there at the end. That is a very difficult situation. But you know, man, I think that wreck kind of killed the momentum for those outside lines. The Spear guys all going to celebrate there on the front straightaway. But we'll take a look at those wrecks that happened there at the end. So we had one a little bit earlier, and let's see what happened there first. So this is Rick Souza involved in this one. And, it's Charnisky hits the wall, comes off, and Rick Souza, just the innocent bystander, gets clipped, spins in, hits the wall. Unfortunate for Rick Souza, who will finish back in 24th tonight. And then we have one more accident coming after the white flag. Or right at the white flag, I believe. Let's see what happened there. So here we go. Rachel Hunt, she's in the middle here. Baron Labasco on the outside. Oh, and the contact is starts with Burt Wilson and Dean Doucette involved. Brian Bliss involved. So several drivers. We'll get a better look at this. But this starts Burt Wilson. Oh, Casey Mullen and Burt Wilson get together. Dean Doucette shoots the gap, gets tagged, and you see the wreck ensuing behind it. Dave Phillips involved, Rachel Hunt involved, and a tough race for those guys involved back there. But at the end of the day, it's all Bernard Person, Chris.
That it is. Bernard Person with that winning car, Jared. It was interesting to see. We talked about the strategy of doing the short pit, whether or not Person would have enough fuel, able to get around here just fast enough, then probably saving what fuel he needed. And that Spear Motorsports driver, he was able to get out of the pits the quickest. And we talked about it early on. That could be the winning race strategy, and it worked out in his favor.
And what a race tonight for Bernard Person to grab his first win of the year here tonight. And we're going to hear from these guys in just a minute here. But as we take a look at our point standings here, and looks like Bernard Person going to be the sole point leader now.
Yeah, coming into this race tied for that points position, and going to easily take over that spot here tonight, with your other two having a little bit of issue with Chuck Sweeney and Dean Doucette there at the end, giving him a little bit of a gap. But man, he earned it tonight, Jared.
Yeah, he sure did. And let's get into these interviews here in just a moment here. But first, let's take a look at our final results here tonight of the race. And you'll see there, Bernard Person, the winner, by 0.05 of a second over Ronnie Royal, Patterson, Nearad, Allen, Spear, Maines, Vrooman, Bills, Wilson. We already talked about them. Poliski will grab 11th, followed by Labasco. David Phillips on debut in 13th. Stephen Loomis, Dave King, your top 15. Then Dean Doucette, he'll come across the line in 16th ahead of Elliott Swope. Brian Bliss 18th, Rachel Hunt 19th, and the top 20, Chris, is Casey McMullen.
And Casey McMullen went into that last lap, Jared, in the 4th position, and that's where he ends up. That just shows that anything can happen in just a blink of an eye at this track.
Looking back at the rest of them, James Torrey will finish 21st, Schmallenberg 22nd, and Darren Bruce will be the last driver on the lead lap in 23rd. Rick Souza will finish 1 lap down in 24th, Chernisky 2 laps down, and then Glenn Jamieson 13 laps down. He was still running at the end, but Flanagan, Bartel, Sweeting, Carpenter, and Gil Gock all failed to finish here tonight at Talladega. All right, so let's hear from our drivers as we're going to talk to our third place driver, Mr. Brad Patterson. Brad, you led 25 laps at the beginning of this race. Got a little issue there right before the pit stops. Ended up losing the lead. Was that the difference in the race here tonight?
I mean, it's really tough to tell. I mean, the car handled really well out front. Everybody was working really well. And man, it was intense. 3 wide for, I couldn't even tell you how many laps there. You just had to really be mindful of where you're at. Ultimately, I think it's just more a matter of, timing the runs and, more importantly, managing the heat.
Yeah, there's a lot of, drafting. I mean, you talked about it, Brad, 3 wide for so many laps. But let's talk about, the pit stops. You got on and off pit road, but you were in that second group, and then you're able to catch up. You and Dean Doucette led that second group back to the first group, and then you get a caution probably about 10 laps later. Did that caution help you, or were you kind of planning on that thing to go green the rest of the way?
I mean, truthfully, if you look at the running order before the caution and after the caution, with about 1 or 2 laps after the caution, it really didn't change anything. It jumbled the order, but it was pretty much the same 4 cars on the bottom and the same 4 on the top. And then it was just a matter of, trying to figure out when you wanted to go ahead and go. Myself and Dean went up to that 3rd lane early, a little earlier than normal, if you will. We were able to make good time, and ultimately we just didn't have enough temperature from behind to push us to get up there, battle really with Bernie and Ronnie. If it finished 1 lap earlier, I think we would have either been second or really been right there for the lead. We just run out of temperature, though.
Well, you had a fan out in the audience tonight, Keith Batson, rooting you on because of that Davey Allison paint job. Won a lot of times at Talladega, obviously an Alabama gang driver, so very iconic track here at car at this track at Talladega. That Davey Allison paint job came up in 3rd place, but now we look ahead, Brad. Homestead, Miami, great track, one of the best tracks on the circuit. How are you feeling about the first 1.5 mile test or that type of test this year?
Kind of optimistic, if you will. I haven't particularly done very well at that particular track. Not a whole lot of lap time on there, though, but we're trying to do a little bit different, put in the time. Really can't thank Pay to Win Setups more than anything. The guys really coming in. We had a nice teaching thing yesterday. The guys over there are just fantastic and, really trying to help us get along with the setups, and they're really making a big difference.
Well, Brad, we'll look forward to seeing what you can do at Homestead next week, and a good points night nonetheless here tonight at Talladega. But I'm going to give you the last word, turn the mic over to you, and let you have any shout-outs or any thanks you got.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, mainly all the guys coming out here, Wind Tunnel being inaugural season, everybody's putting in a lot of hard work. Dean Doucette, all the guys over at Blackwater, Evolution Motorsports, everybody really putting in the time. Again, Pay to Win Setups, you guys up in the booth, and this is just the beginning of what I think is going to be a prominent league and one of the better ones out there for sure.
Exactly right, Brad, and couldn't agree more. But congratulations on your 3rd place tonight.
Thank you.
All
right, Chris, that was our runner-up, or 3rd place finisher, Brad Patterson. I believe you've caught up with our runner-up, Ronnie Royal.
That I have, Ronnie. An excellent finish here tonight to get this 24 machine in that 2nd position for the end there. But I got to ask, did you have anything for Bernard Person there at the end?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely could have, but I want to make sure we got a 1-2, 1-2 going for the sweep up there. It didn't work out that way. I got a little bit bobble at the end, but yeah, just want to get a win for the team.
Absolutely, and there was one moment in this race that kind of stands out to me. The only caution we had tonight, when you guys had that restart there, you kind of got jumbled up, and you were ending up side by side with Bernard Person. Did you guys plan out that start there so that you would end up being back in line?
Yeah, I mean that was the plan to try to get our team together and work together, just drafting and keeping momentum on the inside and push as we need to.
Absolutely, it seemed to work out here in your guys' favor as you were able to at least get the 1-2, almost had the 1-2-3, just a little bit, 200ths over Brad Patterson over Dale Nearad there to make it the sweep there for the podium. But an interesting race there with everything happening through that last lap. What was going through your mind when you saw the contact and all the melee happening going into that last lap?
At that point, I told my Bernie I just gonna stay in it to the end, and hopefully, if I blow up, I pull to the inside. I mean, at that point, you're committed to your teammate, and you don't want the outside run. So my whole mindset was just locked on to Bernie and pushing to the win.
Absolutely. Next week, we're going to Homestead, where the only thing that this track has in common with it is the multiple grooves. What can we expect coming from this number 24 team next week?
Looking for another good run. Homestead's a good favorite track for me. So if I can keep it in the top 10, I had a good run last week. Just trying to point my way in, keeping points there, top of the board.
Absolutely. And I want to take a moment here, let you have the mic to thank anyone that helps to get this number 24 to and from the virtual track each week.
I just want to thank the teammates at Spear Motorsports. There we had one or two missing tonight. Thank Dean and for the league here. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Always an excellent job. And just shout out again to Dean for the league. He's got a great group of drivers here.
Absolutely. We'll be looking forward to this number 24 at Homestead next week. And once again, congrats on the P2 here tonight.
Thanks.
Jared, you hear it there, teamwork there all the way till the end. That's what was the plan here. But I believe you've caught up with our victor here tonight, Bernard Person, in that 8 machine.
Bernard Person climbs from the cockpit of the number 8 machine, grabbing his first win of the year after a tough race last week at Bristol. Maybe feels like one got away from him there, but tonight they couldn't catch the number 8 machine. Congratulations, Bernie, on the victory.
Thank you, Jared. Yeah, a lot of hard work. I think that hard pit stop I did, that definitely got me in ahead of Ronnie.
Well, let's talk about that pit stop. So you were able to go out there, get on pit road. You, Ronnie, Dale, and Jason Spear, your teammates there, all got on and off pit road. You guys elected to go down early. What was the thought process between that? Was fuel ever an issue there? You guys came in first.
Yeah, we were, going through when we could pit because we definitely wanted to pit before everybody else. I think Ronnie said that lap 31 going to lap 32, we would be good to the end. So that's what we did.
So that early pit stop allowed you to kind of undercut the field, and you were able to kind of establish yourself up front at that point in time, and it seemed to be the difference. But going through the rest of the race, I mean, there was a lot of action behind you, but for you, it was pretty calm. You were able to hold the bottom, but then you get a caution, and everything kind of sets up a little bit differently. Did that caution throw a kink in your plan, or did you guys have a game plan and you're going to stick to it no matter what?
No, we were just going to stick with whatever we talked about before the race, and whatever happened. It's Talladega.
Well, Bernie, you did a great job, and you got that victory tonight. Looking ahead, you're going to back to a traditional oval, kind of Homestead Miami Speedway. You've had some success there in the past. You're looking forward to that race, and now you're the official point leader. You came in as a 3-way tie. Now you're the point leader. How are you feeling about your chances going into Homestead?
Homestead, I'm surprised that you said I do good there. It's not really my track for some reason. But I will give a good try, try to get a great setup underneath us as, our teams, we'll work really hard to get a good setup in. And, just try to be up there top 5 if I can. There's so much great talent on this league. You you have to be on your A game.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, even tonight we saw it. I mean, 3 wide for about 20 laps there at the end. Unbelievable racing. But Bernie, you're the one that came out on top. You grabbed the victory. Congratulations to you, sir. And I'm going to turn the mic over to you and let you have the final word on tonight's broadcast.
Thank you, Jared. And like always, I want to thank you and Spears to do a great broadcast. I want to thank Wind Tunnel Racing for putting an excellent league together. Dean did a great job. And my paint scheme had Wind Tunnel Racing logos on it. That was good. I like that. I'm glad to have that win and that sponsor for that win. But I like to thank all my teammates as well. Ronnie put a great setup together. He's always our to-go guy when it comes to super speedways. It's just great to have him on our team.
Yeah, for sure, Bernie. Well, congratulations one more time on that victory tonight, and we'll look forward to seeing what you can do at Homestead next week.
Thank you, guys.
All right, Chris, that was Bernard Person grabbing his first victory of the year. 3 races, 3 different victors. Will next week bring her a number 4?
I certainly think so, Jared. These guys, they're all racing out here as competitively as they can. And if you don't have to take my word for it, there's 70 laps here tonight, and 5 different drivers ran their fastest lap on lap 70. That just goes to show how hard these guys are battling with one another. And at the end, how much it matters to have speed at the finish line. Bernard Person and Ronnie Royal, their fastest lap was the last one, Jared. And that really shows just what those 2 drivers in that team there were thinking coming to that checkered flag.
Exactly right. And Chris, what an amazing race it was. Even though the drama really wasn't for the win, there was plenty of action throughout the field all night long. Jason Maines trying to make that third line work about 20 times tonight, and he did a good job of doing it. But we'll look ahead. Homestead Miami Speedway will be back with Wind Tunnel TV next Thursday night, 9 p.m. We'll take on Homestead Miami Speedway. In the meantime, we'll have tomorrow night Kickin' Asphalt Xfinity Series. Those guys entering their 6th race of the year. We'll see what they can do as they take on, I believe, Darlington tomorrow night. But that's going to do it for tonight. For Chris Spear, for Talladega Super Speedway, for Wind Tunnel Racing, I'm Jared Carr. We will see you guys out on the track.